Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the A&J podcast. I'm Javin. This is my co-host Adam.
What's up?
So Super Bowl Sunday just passed. Tom Brady, 7 Super Bowls now. I mean, the game was kind of a blowout, right?
Yeah, the game wasn't what I expected. I thought it would be a shootout, much closer, but the Bucs kind of just dominated from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of surprising. I mean, the way that the Bucs defense played was outstanding. Like, they really carried this game. I know Tom Brady did pretty well too, but the Bucs defense came to play, and the Chiefs O-line was horrendous. And Chiefs didn't really stand a chance. Like, Mahomes couldn't buy 2 seconds, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, it would have been a good matchup, but it didn't play out to be a good game, Like, on paper, It seemed like, it's the future versus the past, I guess. And Tom Brady destroyed the future.
Yeah. I mean, 31-9.
Yeah.
Like you said, the Bucs defense played amazing. Shaq Barrett played amazing. Via played great.
Winfield. JPP. Yeah. Winfield. Mm-hmm. Devin White. I mean, you can honestly point at any player, and they showed up on the defensive end for the Bucs. It was brutal, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you said it last week. You said if they get pressure to Patrick Mahomes, then the Bucs do have a chance to win, and they took it more than a chance. They just took the whole thing. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, so when you have so many weapons like that, you can't play like, we have to bracket Tyreek Hill and we have to, double team Kelsey, because it's not going to work. You can't double team every player, The way you want to stop that offense and stop those weapons is get to the quarterback, so he can't even pass the ball. It was, just how I thought. I said if the Bucs, their front line against the banged up Chiefs O-line, if they showed up and they get pressure and they get to Mahomes a lot, their offense is going to stagnate because they don't really have much of a run game. Their two running backs are kind of mediocre.
The offensive line for Tom Brady played very well too.
Yeah.
I think Brady was pressured 9.5% of plays in the first half on dropbacks. And Mahomes was pressured 57%.
Wow.
And it really showed. I mean, receivers weren't catching shit. Mahomes was trying his best. He was running around, He was doing his best Lamar Jackson impression. Yeah. But, I mean, it just didn't get the job done. 26 for 49 completion. That's very not Patrick Mahomes.
I just want to say something to the people on Twitter. It was a small people, but there was actual people on Twitter coming at Patrick Mahomes saying that he played bad because of the stat sheet. And, if you look at the stat sheet, he didn't play well, obviously. But if you watch the game and you know football, how can you really blame Patrick Mahomes? He was making super unbelievable plays, and his receivers were not helping him. The O-line was not helping him. The whole offense was kind of betraying him,
Yeah.
The one where he was parallel to the ground and threw it sidearm like a third baseman would throw it at first. And who dropped it? Hill, I think? Did Hill drop that one?
I think so.
It was he was making great throws to receivers' hands, and they weren't helping him out. They didn't show up. I thought Patrick Mahomes would have played a hell of a game if they just caught the ball more,
Yeah.
So to the people that say Patrick Mahomes didn't play well, I think you're crazy. I thought his offense showed up, his O-line protected him a little better, his receivers actually caught the balls in their hands, he would have lit up the stat sheet. It probably would have been a different game.
Yeah. Kelsey got targeted 15 times. He caught 10 of them. But it's really the lower end receivers, I think, needed to step up for the game too to win. Mm-hmm. And they really didn't. Williams, right?
Yeah.
Williams targeted fucking 7 times, two catches. Hardman 6 targets, 2 catches. Robinson, yeah. I mean, nobody really stepped up. Travis Kelce had over 100 yards, which, I mean, is Travis Kelce things, he's going to do that, but he couldn't get it in the end zone, and they weren't letting him. The Tampa Bay defense was playing amazing. And everybody's complaining on Twitter about all the flags and shit. I mean, the Chiefs defense did not look good, and I don't think the flags would have changed anything, to be honest. Maybe a couple scores, but it still would have been, a blowout.
I think some of the fouls that they called were ticky-tack. But, I think the Chiefs, their defense wasn't playing, like you said, they weren't playing that well to begin with.
Yeah.
Definitely the penalties hurt a lot, especially the Matthew, what was it, pass interference, was it, or holding? Right
I think
before
it
the
was
half?
pass interference, yeah.
Yeah, that was huge because that gave Brady, he put him on the 1 yard line pretty much. With a couple seconds, they got a touchdown off of it. But other than that, I think, whenever you get to these big games, it's always officiating is a problem,
Yeah.
And I think it just kind of sucks, but I actually don't think the officiating was the reason why the Chiefs lost. I think the Chiefs lost because of the offense. They weren't gonna win. They weren't gonna win this game with 9 points. Doesn't matter,
Exactly.
Doesn't matter what's getting called on the defensive side. Score 9 points, you're not gonna win most likely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now Tom Brady's 7 rings. He's the second player to win it with 2 different teams now.
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Manning goes into the Hall of Fame a day before. Tom Brady says, "Yo, watch this. Let me just get in with 2 different teams too. It doesn't matter. I could do whatever anybody else could do." So at this point, I mean, is he the best player in football?
I think this win, as crazy as it might sound, as accomplished as Tom Brady is, and how good the Bucs team, this Bucs team is probably one of the best teams he's ever played on.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't think that this win was as important to his legacy as it might be, but I personally think this is a huge win for his legacy. I think this really put him over the top in terms of the GOAT of GOATs. The narrative before was that it was Bill Belichick. It was always the defense. It was system quarterback, all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And he go in the AFC. He has a horrible division versus the Bills have been bad. Not recently. They've been good recently, but historically they've been bad. Jets suck. Dolphins usually suck. So I think going to the NFC in a good division, beating Rodgers, beating Mahomes, beating Breeze, I think this is a huge win for Brady and his legacy.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think because when you see someone who plays as good as Brady does and he has 6 championships already, it shouldn't be that hard to say that okay, this player is the best. But I do agree with you that this 7th championship really elevates him. He beat 3 MVP quarterbacks, former MVP quarterbacks, to get to where he got, and Tyler Heineke. And I'm just gonna say he had the best game out of any of the other quarterbacks that he played against. So
yeah,
I think Taylor Heineke is the future. If I'm being honest, I might go buy a jersey.
I think Brady. I think there's no way you can argue that he's not the GOAT anymore.
I mean, who's in the conversation? It's Jerry Rice, right?
Peyton
Manning, Lawrence Taylor, probably.
Joe Namath.
Yeah, does Tom Brady's accomplishments and what he's done in his career, the numbers he's put up, does that put him over the edge of these players? I think so.
Yeah, I mean, you win 7 Super Bowls out of 10, which is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And he's 43 years old and he's still playing at a really high level. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. Did he look like a 43-year-old quarterback out there?
Mm-mm.
He looked like he was still mid-30s, early 30s. Looked like a 31-year-old quarter. It's crazy to think.
Had an amazing season too, man. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and you were really high on the Bucs coming in, like before the season, and you looked like you were right. They were kind of a super team,
Yeah, I mean, what I said to you before, when it first started, I said that they're definitely the best team on paper, but it comes down to a matter of how they blend together and what they could do as a team. And they started off slow. And then after they took that bad loss to the Chiefs, where Tyreek Hill had almost 300 yards or whatever, then they went 7-0, and then they won 4 games in a row and made it to the playoffs. Beat amazing talents, to get there, and they did it. I mean, Tom Brady's probably coming back another year. I think he said he wants to play out the contract. So I mean, who knows what's gonna happen in the NFC now?
Yeah, I mean, they're a scary team. I actually kind of fear that they might repeat. Because of how they're super talented, and there's not really anybody on the roster that is, going to leave. I think most of their guys are under contract.
Mike Evans said he wants to take a pay cut to keep the team together.
That would be smart to do when you have a team like that. I think take the pay cut and try to win as many rings as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Shaq Barrett might be a free agent, but I can't imagine them letting him walk. How good he's played the past 2 years is insane.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they let him walk. They'll probably slap him with a franchise tag or they give him a big contract.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs it was great. I mean, the Super Bowl was boring as a whole. Honestly, I didn't really like the commercials. I thought the commercials were really bad this year.
Yeah.
I thought, when you get to the Super Bowl and you watch with your family, I think some of the commercials are sometimes make the whole event.
Yeah.
When you get these funny commercials or like these like heartfelt ones,
Mm-hmm.
I thought these were all whack. Like, I couldn't even really remember any. Me and you were talking about it before. The Drake from State Farm was pretty good.
Yeah.
And outside of that, I don't know.
I think Drake from State Farm is a big reason why Patrick Mahomes lost.
Yeah.
You know the Drake curse.
That's actually pretty true.
And he wants to do a commercial with Drake during the Super Bowl. I don't know.
He did to himself.
Yeah.
How about the halftime show? How'd you feel about the halftime show?
I liked the halftime show. The only problem was I felt like it was hard to hear the weekend sometimes.
Mm.
But I don't think that's a him problem. I think that's more of the sound engineer problem,
Mm.
engineering problem. But I like the sets. I like everything everything he did, and he played some really great songs. It's the weekend, man. One of he's a really amazing artist.
Yeah, I thought he played some bangers. I like this.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the old people didn't like it, obviously, because I think that's just they're kind of a little out of touch with the newer stuff. But I liked it. I thought it was good. It was solid. It wasn't great, I don't think, but it was good.
Yeah, it's no Prince halftime.
Yeah, exactly.
That one was just perfect.
I mean, Prince or who else? What were some really good ones?
Janet Jackson with a titty.
Oh,
out.
yes. Janet Jackson, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Classic.
I think Prince will never be beaten.
Probably not. With the rain and everything, I mean, it was just perfect.
I don't know. But anyways, game was whack. Brady's the GOAT. Bucs are a scary team. What else is there to say? I don't know.
Back to the GOAT discussion. I mean, I don't think you can't doubt a player who has more Super Bowl wins now than any franchise. It's just I don't think you can. I don't think it's ever going to be replicated either. I can't see another player doing that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to go to 10 Super Bowls, that might not happen again. To win 7 of them, probably won't happen again.
Yeah.
Think about all these great. Look at Aaron Rodgers. He only has 1. As great as Aaron Rodgers, only 1. Drew Brees 1. Like, it's kind of Phillip Rivers never won 1. It's just kind of crazy.
You have to have longevity, which Tom Brady has most definitely had, and you have to have a good system around you, which he's always had. Bill Belichick, amazing head coach, general manager.
And you got to show up big in the big games.
Yeah, and he has.
Just me, or did you? When they were down, what was it? 28, I think 28, 29. I mean 28-9.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think the Chiefs were gonna make a comeback a little bit?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I think it didn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
When they went down big, I kind of felt like the game was over, and I think you said it too. You were like, "Game's over" or whatever. I don't know. I didn't feel like the team was playing good enough to make a comeback like that.
I knew the game was over after was it the Fournette I think it was Fournette with the big touchdown run, the third one, and then I thought the Chiefs were gonna come back a little bit. I really did. I didn't think they would win. I don't think they were going to win, but I thought they would come back and make it a little close because, throughout the season they've been coming back big in the fourth quarters. They have a lot of fourth quarter comebacks this year in the playoffs. So I thought when they went out, I think it was 28-9. I really thought they were going to score 2 touchdowns in a row, make it close, and then Tom Brady would probably ice the game.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't even get to that, which is I thought was surprising. That's how the game was so out of whack, because the Chiefs that have been doing it all year, these fourth quarter comebacks, and they always get to a slow start in the big games. They always do. They're always down in the beginning, like 10-0, 10-3, 13-6, whatever.
Down 21-0 against the Texans last year, I believe.
Yeah, and they always make it those halftime adjustments and they come up big in the fourth, and they didn't. So that's why it was even more shocking to see.
Yeah,
I thought Todd Bowles called a great game.
Mm-hmm.
He was blitzing he was getting really clever with his coverages, and he was blitzing corners and stuff.
Yeah.
And he did a great job because Patrick Mahomes could not do anything.
Yeah, Mahomes was pressured 27, 29 times during the game. Something like that.
It's insane.
I mean, great defensive game by Tampa Bay. The front four played amazing. Everybody, it's good to see JPP win a ring again.
You happy for him, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why a Giants fan would have any kind of animosity towards him.
No, I mean, it happens, bro. It's sports,
Yeah. JPP is a good guy. He was a great Giant.
Yeah.
I'm happy he won.
Me too.
So, yeah. Here's JPP. Are we done talking about Super Bowl, or?
I don't know. Is there anything else to talk about? I'm trying to think.
Maybe if it was a closer game, there would be more to talk about.
Yeah, probably. This is probably like Mahomes' worst loss he's ever had in his football career.
How about against the Patriots? What was it, 2 years ago?
Yeah, but this one is what was that Patriots? I don't even think they lost by double digits.
Nah, but it was a heartbreaker because that was the game D Ford was offsides, and Brady threw a pick, but he was offsides. It got called back, and then Brady threw a touchdown or something.
Yeah.
And Holmes didn't even get a chance to get the ball in overtime. That was a pretty bad loss. They would have won the Super Bowl that year.
They would have too, probably. Not probably, because the Rams sucked that year.
They would have won.
Yeah. Well, there's more football news to talk about. We'll start with the Giants. Leonard Williams named to the Pro Football Network All-Pro team. I think that's well deserved.
Very, very well deserved.
Played amazing this year. Had an amazing season. First episode, we talked about him for 10 minutes about how great of a player he is.
Yeah, I mean the numbers speak for itself. He was absolutely fantastic. He kind of got snubbed for the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
But like I said many times, Pro Bowl is BS.
Yeah.
It's a popularity contest. This, the All Pros is where it really matters.
For sure. And it's well deserved. He deserves it. And hopefully he continues next season. Has another monster season.
With the Giants, of course.
Yes, definitely.
Got to bring him back. What else news?
There's some rumors circulating that Watson wants to sit out next season. He's willing to, if he doesn't get a trade. And I mean, if I'm him, yeah, I'd do it too.
The Texans are stupid. Listen, they cannot go. They can't go to battle with Watson because if he doesn't play, then it's just gonna be such a bad story. It's gonna look bad. Then his value might depreciate. I think if they can't fix the relationship, they're better off trading him right now because they're not gonna win the long battle. Get him. Yeah. They can get a huge haul and rebuild their team in a couple years with that haul, all those firsts. Or they can let him sit on the bench, fine him, ruin the relationship even more, and depreciate his value because he's only going to be one more year older if he sits a whole year. And then what do you do? Then what do you do then?
Yeah.
So Texans, I think they got to cut bait and trade him, and I think it sounds like Miami or Jets still.
Yeah, I mean, Houston really ruined it for themselves, to be honest. Bill O'Brien really thought he was Bill Belichick,
Yeah, the Hopkins trade was horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean, that was really bad. Even the Larmy Tunsil trade really shot them in the foot this year because they gave up a first-round pick for the tackle to Miami, and that pick was, fourth now? Or fifth?
Yeah. I
mean, that's a fourth overall pick that they could have used to put more talent around Watson or even replace Watson. And they don't even own their pick, so it's embarrassing.
They had to trade for Laramie Tunsil because they got rid of
Yeah.
What's the guy's name? I can't remember his name.
I forgot his name too.
But they had to trade for Laramie Tunsil because Bill O'Brien is like, yeah, well, if you don't want to be here, you could just leave. I'll replace you. And he replaced him, and then screwed himself. And the same thing with DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins wanted a bigger contract, extension or whatever, and he was like, nope. I'll just I'll do somebody else, and he got David Johnson, and a second round pick for the best wide receiver in football that year.
It's embarrassing. I mean, they could have at least minimum gotten 2 first round picks for him.
Yeah,
and not taken back David Johnson's horrible contract.
Yeah.
I don't. Bill O'Brien's a joke. I'm glad he got fired.
Absolutely. More quarterback trades. Well, rumors at least. The Eagles are reportedly close to trading Carson Wentz. Either with the Colts or the Bears. They're identified as potential destinations. Yeah, the Colts, losing Phillip Rivers, he's retired now.
That's breaking news too.
I think that's been news, pretty sure.
Really?
Yeah.
But it happened this week though, no? Last week or?
I think it's... Hold on. You want me to look this up? Yeah, he announced retirement like 3 weeks ago.
Oh wow.
But he signed the 1 day with the Chargers this week.
That okay.
To retire as a Charger, which, rightfully so.
Makes sense.
He played his whole career there. Could have been Eli, but
where do you think Wentz ends up?
Who do the Colts have as their backup? Do they still have Brissett?
I think Brissett left. I'm not sure who they. I think they have Jacob Eason. They drafted him last year.
Who the hell is that?
They drafted him last year in the mid rounds. They really like him. One team. Where does Carson Wentz go?
Because the Bears are funny because it's every season, like every offseason, they want to talk about trading Mr. Trubisky, and then they never do. So I don't think they're gonna do it this season. I could see him going to the Colts though. Taking over Philip Rivers' position.
I can actually see it going to the Bears, and Mitchell Trubisky will still be on the roster. I think they might trade Nick Foles back.
Oh my god.
That might be hilarious. I can see it, man.
Yeah, it's just the NFL. That's how it works.
Do you think the Bears or Colts trading for Carson Wentz would put them over the top, make them contenders, or no?
I mean, Colts made the wild card, right? With Philip Rivers, and then the Hail Mary kind of made me sad to watch. I gotta imagine Carson Wentz has a better arm than Philip Rivers does now, right?
Yeah, but he also turns the ball over a lot more.
Yeah, it's not gonna make anybody a Super Bowl contender. Is the main point. No matter where he goes. Except maybe Tampa Bay.
Yeah, yeah, because they're so freaking good. But
yeah.
I think what this will end up being is just a decent upgrade at the quarterback position. If he goes to the Bears, I mean Trubisky's probably one of the worst quarterbacks. Carson Wentz would be an upgrade over him. So in theory, they got better at the quarterback position, but I just don't think Carson. The way he played this year was really alarming. I mean, the turnovers were insane. The decision making was crazy, and he has an injury history. So can you really rely on him for a 16-game season?
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
No, definitely not.
And I don't really know what the hype. I don't know why these teams are so hell-bent to trade him. I'm hearing 2 first-round picks and these crazy packages and stuff. If he was that good, Philly wouldn't trade him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This seems like Nick Foles again, where the Bears traded for him and they gave up a decent haul for a shitty quarterback. I think Carson Wentz is another Nick Foles.
Yeah, probably. It's not far off at all.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Any other news?
Football? No, I don't think so.
Should we swing it over to baseball?
Haha.
Like that one?
Swing it over. That was a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, did this happen again right after we recorded the Bauer stuff?
This happened on Friday, I think.
Oh wait, really? What the hell?
Yeah.
I may have had a little too much to drink yesterday. But yeah, you explain it because you can explain it better than I can.
So Trevor Bauer finally, thankfully, signs with the team. Made his decision. He's been hyping up his offseason like he was Michael Jordan or LeBron. LeBron made his decision. That's kind of what that's what he's been doing this offseason. It's the decision, Trevor Bauer. Where's he gonna go? But the thing is, LeBron is a great player, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's probably the best player in the NBA. At least at the time he was when he made the decision. Imagine if, I don't know, Russell Westbrook made the decision. People laugh at him. It's who cares where Russell Westbrook goes,
Yeah.
Or Kristaps Porzingis if he made the decision. It's okay. It's more hype than his track record,
Yeah.
The hype precedes his track record because he's only been good for 2 seasons out of 6, which is not that good. And the one season he was absolutely amazing was a 60-game season. It was short. It was a sprint, not a marathon usually. How it usually is. So I think him going to the Dodgers, which is where he ended up, he's the highest paid player in baseball right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of crazy to think that he got that money because he's not the best player in baseball. He's not even the top 10 player in baseball. To get that money was kind of crazy. I guess the marketing and branding worked. But what the real news is that the news wasn't that he signed with the Dodgers. It was that the trolling he did before the announcement. So what had happened is, all the reports were breaking. He's going to sign with the Mets, going to sign with the Mets, going to sign with the Mets, right? Then on his website, it shows that he's selling Let's Go Mets gear and, him in a Mets jersey and stuff like that on a shirt. And he sent out emails saying he signed with the Mets. And then a couple hours later, he signs with the Dodgers. So, why are you trolling the fans? It doesn't make sense, It sounds cowardice. Yeah. It's you're corny for that. I'm going to be honest. I wanted him, but I wasn't going to cry if he didn't sign with us. But when he did that, when he trolled the fans, it's just, why you got to troll the fans? What do you gain out of that? I thought that was so stupid. I thought that was poor. I thought that was childish. And, he went on Twitter and it was like, yeah, I apologize. I take blame in all this. But listen, honestly, let him go to the Dodgers. Let him be the highest paid player for them. Let him be average like he's always been his career. It's fine. Mets will go get someone else.
Yeah.
I'm done with the Bauer whole situation. It's so stupid.
I mean, now that you see him, he's the most paid player in baseball. It's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth to sign that guy that you are comparing to, like Chris Stapps or Russell Westbrook, to be the highest paid player in baseball. Sport.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Russell Westbrook was the highest paid player a little while ago.
And how'd that work out? Not that good.
Exactly.
And what's funny? Russell Westbrook probably has a better track record than Bauer. Because Russell Westbrook has won an MVP, and he's been a top 5 player in the league. Bauer hasn't even been that. The only time he's ever been the top whatever pitcher in the league is last year, when it was a 60-game season where he was the best. So, I don't know. I'm glad he's not a Met, honestly. And to the Mets fans that are, crying, the Mets missed out on Bauer, they missed out on Bauer, blah. Listen, I think we dodged the bullet here. I really do. Mm-hmm. I wanted Bauer. I wanted him for $30 million a year. Not 40, make him the most paid player, make him paid more than Jacob deGrom, who is actually the best pitcher in baseball. Because what is that? What kind of message does that send to deGrom, right? And then when deGrom becomes a free agent, you already offered this guy $40 million. What is Jacob deGrom going to command? 45? 50? I don't think so, but you have to ask yourself. Yeah. So I think they dodged the bullet there.
What does this mean for the landscape of the MLB now? The champions last year go and acquire
Trevor Bauer.
He's not a bad player.
He is a good player. He's a good player. My thing is he's not a great player. Worth the $40 million.
So what does this mean for the landscape of the MLB?
Honestly, I think this means the Dodgers are even scarier than they already are. I really do believe that. Listen, I just went on the whole rant about how Trevor Bauer is not great, but he's still good, and their team is still loaded. And I don't think there's any way that you can go in the season and say the Dodgers aren't the favorites to win it. Even with what the Mets have done, the Braves have done, Padres have done. When you get a stacked team like the Dodgers, and you add on top of that even more, it's going to be scary,
Yeah. So
I think Dodgers are, right now, clear-cut favorites to win the World Series. That they must have the best odds right now. But actually, I just thought of this right now. Before, during the offseason, Dodgers fired a bunch of their workers, and they laid off a bunch of their workers. Then they signed Trevor Bauer to this $40 million contract, and they go over the luxury tax, and they have to pay taxes on it. So it's kind of like, do you have money or don't you have money? You're complaining that you lost all this money, you're firing your workers, but you're still spending on play,
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of weird, I don't know. It just proves that the owners are bullshit, They just don't want to pay the workers. So stupid.
Yeah, that does suck.
Just bull. But anyways, back to, I guess, the Mets. Right now, I mean, the fact that it seems like there's no DH this year really hurts them bad. Because if there had been a DH, they could have moved Dom to first, Pete to DH, Nimmo to left, and signed a center fielder. Right? And they would have had a good defense. They would have been a really strong defensive team. But now, because there's no DH, you have your first baseman, right, in left field. You have your left fielder in center field, and you have your DH playing first. So you get a lot weaker on defense. And it's just so frustrating that there's going to be no DH this year because both the owners and the players want the DH. It's just they can't come to an agreement over it. It's crazy to think. You think it would be as simple as like, do you want the DH? And the players' union would be like, yes. And the owners say, okay, we too, so let's just pass it. But nope. It's all about this bargaining chips and, oh, we'll give you the DH if you give us extended playoffs, or we'll give you this or that or whatever. It's just stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my rant about baseball. I think MLB, Rob Manfred, and the owners all got to come together and just figure out what's good for the game of baseball and not worry so much. Not everything's about money, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes some things are just, it's more about what makes the game better or greater or whatever, and just getting it done and working out other things later.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my rant about baseball.
All right. Anything else in the baseball world that you want to talk about?
Nothing groundbreaking. I mean, Mets signed Albert Almora, but he's like a defensive outfielder. Not too much to talk about there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could talk about with one trade team in New York that made a trade this past week.
Yeah, go ahead.
Derrick Rose reunites with Tom Thibodeau and the Knicks. He's getting the band back together. Taj Gibson's already on the team. I mean, you know, what do you think about it?
Is that trade like confirmed 100%?
Yeah. The Shams reported that the deal was done.
And who got traded?
It was Dennis Smith Jr. and the Charlotte's second round pick this year for D Rose. So all in all, it was pretty much nothing for D Rose.
Yeah.
I mean, traded a G leaguer, Dennis Smith, and a semi-valuable second round pick
for Derrick Rose,
who's still a good player.
Yeah,
he's like a decent player.
I'm surprised he's like actually wanted to go back.
Yeah, I mean, would he go back if it wasn't for Tom Thibodeau?
No, I think Tom Thibodeau makes it worse for him to come back. If I'm him and I see Tom Thibodeau coaching a team I'm getting traded to, I'm retiring.
But D Rose follows him though. He loves playing with Tom Thibodeau. I know. On the Bulls, on the Wolves, and now the Knicks.
It's like an abusive relationship. He fucking ran you into the ground after your MVP season. Mm. You're not the player you used to be, and you just keep coming back for more. You're asking like, please, my knees need more abuse. Please don't stop. You know. Mm. I don't know. I don't know if this helps the Knicks that much. I mean, I haven't been watching much of Derrick Rose, but is he like lethal from like the 3-point line?
No. He's never been.
Never has been. So I mean, what did you really get from this?
Honestly, to me, what this trade means is the Knicks have a really bad second unit. They really have a really, really bad bench unit where they don't really score a lot and they really don't defend that well. So I think Derrick Rose, he comes in, I would assume he'd be the starter, right? Mm-hmm. That moves Peyton back to the backup spot, and that moves quickly to the 2 guard, and you probably kick out Austin Rivers out the rotation. So this trade probably, or even if Derrick Rose just comes off the bench, I think this trade was supposed to help the second unit, not really the first unit. And I don't know if I like this trade because I kind of want to see Emmanuel Quickley with the ball in his hands and not play off ball. Yeah. Especially for someone like Elfrid Payton, where we know what Elfrid Payton is. We know he's, if he's lucky, he's average point guard in the league. Mm-hmm. So unless they cut Elfrid Payton or trade him tomorrow, I really don't understand the trade from that aspect. Like, we have this young point guard who's been flourishing and he's been playing well, he's been playing strong, he's getting better. Why would you put him in a position, his not natural position, and take the balls out of his hands when you're trying to develop him?
Yeah, I don't understand why you go out for another quarterback. I mean, what the hell? Why you go out for another point guard when, like you said, Emmanuel Quickley has been playing great. He's had some good games this week.
Derrick Rose isn't even a good shooter. That's the crazy part. It's like, we need shooting. We don't have shooting, so you trade for another point guard that can't shoot. It's crazy to me, You traded for a better Elfrid Payton.
Yeah, and that's what we've been talking about too. Like, Knicks need to trade for shooters. And then they go trade for a point guard that does a lot of layups, you know?
Yeah. He's
tries
more,
to get to the paint.
he's a driver, he's a slasher, mid-range type of player. And he's good at it, don't get me wrong, but we have a lot of players on this roster just like that. Whether it's Peyton, Randall, RJ, now Derrick Rose,
Yeah.
This trade is everything the Knicks are, It's such a Knick trade. Just to do something that nobody wants them to do and they do it anyways,
Yeah.
It's obvious, but it also catches you by surprise.
Yeah, you never know with the Knicks.
And actually, what's interesting about this trade is I think this shows that Tom Thibodeau actually has more pull and more power over decisions over the roster than we might have thought. Because when Leon Rose was hired, it was kind of like under the umbrella that he was the adult in the room and everything's going to be under his watchful eye and, he's the guy, right?
Yeah.
But with this trade, it has Tom Thibodeau's name all over, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's kind of interesting. How much pull does Tom Thibodeau actually have on the roster? What do you think?
I think he's always had pull with every team he's been with, though.
Yeah, that's true. But typically, head coaches don't usually make roster decisions unless they're a GM too.
Yeah, I think he probably went up to Leon Rose. He was like, "Yeah, it'd be nice to have D Rose," and you want to keep the head coach happy, So you're like, I mean, you got D Rose for nothing, like you said. Dennis Smith Jr. wanted to be the G League last week. You get a second round pick, which hit and miss, usually miss, but I think this is more of a thing trying to keep Thibodeau happy.
Yeah. Also, I think there is a chance that both things lined up. I think the Knicks wanting to upgrade their point guard play, and it just so happened Derrick Rose on the market, and it just so happened that Tom Thibodeau has a great relationship with Derrick Rose, obviously, and he's the coach of the Knicks, so
yeah,
that also could have happened. Maybe, but I don't think we'll ever find out. But I think it's safe to assume that Tom Thibodeau probably was a big factor and a big push to get him in, Derrick Rose in here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I agree with that.
You think the Derrick Rose trade? Let's just say in theory the Knicks would win 35 games if they kept their roster the same. Does adding D Rose, how many wins do you think they would win?
I don't know, maybe like 1.
So they would fit like 36 wins?
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of agree. That's why I feel like it doesn't really move the needle.
Yeah, it doesn't help any of the problems that the Knicks have,
Yeah.
And now they're just overloading the point guard position. They have so many guards now. They're like the Cavs except with point guards.
Or the Pistons.
Yeah, no, the Pistons. Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. It's like, what do you guys, when are the Knicks going to, double down on quickly, Because, sometimes throwing players into positions like everybody wants them to be, like throwing Peyton into a starting role when he's not ready could be detrimental to his play. But I don't think it would be in this case. I think Quickly's been playing well. I think he's proven that he can deal with the minutes and put up good numbers, So why not keep him out there? Start him.
It's crazy that you think they would want to expand his role, then limit it.
Yeah.
And with this trade, that's another point guard. That's another player eating minutes. So his minutes got to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
22 points a game or whatever he's averaging in the Pistons. That's not going to come out of thin air. Someone's going to be losing 22 minutes. And there's a decent chance that could be Quickly or Peyton or Rivers. And if it's Rivers, I don't have a problem. But if it's Quickly, then I'm going to have a problem.
The only saving grace for this trade is that Quickly is now under mentorship of MVP. Yeah, at least used to be MVP caliber point guard. Someone who's been in the playoffs, made some deep runs. Someone who has the experience of the league.
And experience on playing under Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah,
he knows what Tom Thibodeau wants out of his point guard. Obviously, keeps trading for him. So I think Derrick Rose, the leadership, is definitely a plus, but I don't think it's necessarily the reason why I would trade for him.
I agree.
So I think this trade. I hope this trade. There's more to come. I hope this isn't. I hope the Knicks don't feel like they're done improving the roster. And I hope they start making trades for more players with more upside or more of a realistic future with the team. Trading for an oldish Derrick Rose, whose contract is expiring. I don't think that has a lot of future with the team. But maybe going out and trading for Buddy Hield or Oladipo or some of these other youngish players, I think that would be. I hope they would explore those avenues.
We've been saying every week, I think now, Knicks need shooting, right? Yeah. So I mean, I don't know why they're not making maybe they don't think they need shooting or something. I'm not sure. But it's not really working out for them because they're still. I mean, what are they, 500 around, right?
They're 11-13 right now, or 14.
Okay, so I mean, it's 11-14, yeah. So I mean, it's not really working too well. At what point do you buck up and you're like, it's time. Something's not working here.
Yeah, and I also think it's interesting to see is how much do they actually believe in themselves this season? Are they actually trying to win now, or are they trying to be realistic and say, let's try to win as many games as we can, and then wherever we land, right? If they make the playoffs or they don't make the playoffs, maybe they don't really care that much. They're more focused on improvement and looking better for free agents.
Yeah.
I can see that too, but I think with the roster you have now, I think it's best to try to start winning and get to the playoffs so that these young players can get experience. Like a RJ, like a Randall. Randall's never been to the playoffs, so it'd be good to get him in the playoffs to get experience. Mitch, so like I said, I hope they trade for if they're gonna make trades. I hope they trade for players that have multiple years under contract or their youngish player. Not they shouldn't. The Knicks are not good enough to be trading for vets expiring contracts. They're supposed to be trading vets on expiring contracts for picks. So they got the whole thing reversed right now. They should be trading Payton for a second and Burks for this and Bullock for a ham sandwich and,
Yeah.
Not the other way around. It just seems like they're in limbo right now.
Yeah. There's a lot of season left though, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe Derrick Rose plays well for us and maybe we're underrating the trade, but as of right now, I don't think so.
Yeah, neither do I. Unless he proves it, then.
Any other news in the NBA world?
I think we're gonna be talking a lot in the NBA. There's a lot of stuff I have in my notes, NBA specific.
What's the first bullet?
I want to talk about the Kevin Durant stuff.
Yeah.
I think that was Friday.
Oh, yeah, I think so, yeah.
KD plays, right? He's coming off the bench. And then through the third quarter, they're like, all right, you have to leave. It turns out you have COVID or some shit like that, Or he doesn't have COVID, but he's been exposed around people that have it. It's just such a bad look for the NBA. How do you let this guy who's been exposed 3 times with a team employee who tested positive too? He goes around Kevin Durant. He gets him. Kevin Durant, he can get it. Now he's giving it to his teammates. And then he's giving it to the people that he's playing against now. That could shut down 2 whole teams for 2 weeks. Or a week, 10 days, Such a terrible look. And the way that the NBA went about it too, trying to hide it. Be like, don't worry, it's not as big as it seems. But it's a pretty big deal, in my opinion.
And then Kevin Durant going on Twitter, it was like, free me or something.
Yeah.
I don't think he handled it that well either. We've been very critical on Adam Silver and NBA of how they handled COVID this year. And it just doesn't get better. They keep having these stories that are not basketball related, but COVID related, dominating the headlines, and it's not good. Players.
Adam Silver choked without the bubble.
Yeah,
he's choking right now.
And we thought the league might shut down, and they haven't, which is remarkable in itself. But to me, it's like it doesn't sound like they take it's so serious,
Yeah.
And listen, I don't think it's Kevin Durant's fault. I don't think it's the workers' fault. I think it was just bad situation that happened. And it's hard to control where everybody on the team goes. You have to think about the medical staff, the coaching, the player. You can't monitor all these people. Yeah. But I think they have to do a better job of making sure that people aren't leaving or they're wearing masks and they're getting vaccinated and stuff. Because you don't want. This is another story we're talking about COVID in the basketball. When's it gonna break the camel's back? You know?
Yeah, All-Star games in jeopardy. Which I mean, All-Star games are unnecessary.
Yeah.
But the NBA seems to want it so bad for whatever reason. And LeBron's like, nah, there's no point. And you know, if LeBron's saying that, every other player is gonna agree with him.
Because it's LeBron.
Yeah. So I mean, All-Star games probably not happening now, which is for the best because all these players are coming from different places. So what is it, like 10, 12 players on each roster or something like that for the All-Star game, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's 24 different players. Could be from like anywhere from like 7 to fucking 8 different teams each conference. So it's like, there's no reason to put these players at risk and jeopardize the season even more than you already are. For doing an All-Star game.
Or even the workers that are going to be around them and stuff.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
Absolutely not.
I think they should name All-Stars and do some kind of like entertainment thing without them having to play a game under the same building. Everybody's near each other.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see the problem. Why can't they just have the All-Stars, name them, count it as actual All-Stars, not just, by name,
Yeah.
And then have some kind, like football did the Madden tournament. That was horrible, but maybe they can go a different route. Maybe they can have players do something else.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it just seems kind of contradictory to have an All-Star game. Not really a necessity. You don't need it. You're just putting more players at risk to catch COVID.
Well, I mean, now we're talking about COVID, so I want to talk about what happened with LeBron at the Atlanta game. With the woman on the sideline. Why the fuck are there fans at the arenas?
I don't know. Why are they so close to the players?
Why are they on the sideline?
Right next to them.
Apparently it's up to the teams and like whatever the state regulations are at the time. And the teams and the arenas decide like, okay, we're gonna have fans this and that. The NBA needs to shut that down immediately. There should not be anybody else in that arena except players, staff, and referees. And that's it. And the announcers. Anyone that is vital to the game. The fans are not vital at this moment. First of all, why are people going out to watch basketball?
With no mask.
Yeah. And why are you fighting with LeBron? What are you thinking? She was crazy. I don't understand this whole thing, You talk about all this stuff, wear masks, this and that. NBA's pushing hard for people to wear masks. But you're letting fans get so close to players, argue with them, have no mask on, this and that. It's not a good look. It's so bad right now around the league, like you said.
Even the situation itself is so stupid.
Yeah.
Like, the way the female that was involved, the way she handled it was stupid. I thought LeBron actually handled it well. I'm not a big LeBron guy, but I'll be honest, I thought he handled it well. And when it comes to like fan barking at players, I usually side with the players because the fans could be. If it's okay to trash talk, but there's definitely a line there, and fans usually tend to cross that. And I thought she crossed it. She was cursing him out. She was making a scene. She got kicked out, and then she goes on Twitter or whatever it was, and she's cursing him out. And the guy, her husband, who's like twice her age, is on Twitter calling like a LeBron all these names. I just think it's so classless,
Yeah.
Such a stupid thing. They shouldn't even be there in the first place for them to have this scene. It's just like you said, they as long as if it's not vital to the game, they shouldn't even be there.
Yeah, for sure.
What's next to talk about?
Let's talk about the Mavs. They are not playing so well. Shaq, always with the tidbits, he's very educated basketball mind, obviously. Watches every game probably, takes everything in. He said, the Mavs need a guy that's just as good as Luka Doncic, but a little bit better. And then he starts to give examples, and he says, like a Bradley Beal or Russell Westbrook. Do you think Russell Westbrook is better than Luka Doncic?
I don't think Bradley Beal's better than Luka Doncic.
Exactly. I mean, how many players are better than Luka Doncic that are playing better than him right now?
I mean, Luka's what, top 5?
Right now, probably, yeah.
Who's probably above him right now?
LeBron.
Giannis. Kawhi.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah. I think it's close, yeah, but Kawhi's probably up there. Joel Embiid.
Oh yes, Joel Embiid. Yeah.
Jokic. Jokic's having an amazing season, by the way.
Yeah, and that's probably it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably it right there. Kevin Durant, if he's healthy, he plays. But that's a big question mark.
I mean, Luka Doncic, 28, 9, and 9.5. You know, having a monster season. What player are you getting that's better or just as good as Luka Doncic? And what are you trading for a player like that?
Yeah, and why do you think Russell Westbrook would help that team? That would hurt their team poorly.
Yeah. Why do you think Bradley Beal or Russell Westbrook would be good for that team? I don't know. But I'm just saying Christian Wood called him a casual.
He is a casual.
I think Christian Wood is right.
Yeah. And listen, Shaq's not wrong in his idea, what he was trying to say. He's trying to say that they need a third piece, which is true, because KP is not really the second piece that they envisioned when the Mavs traded for him. So he's kind of, KP right now is kind of a third piece already. So to get someone better than KP, but maybe less than Luka, does make sense. But the thing is, they don't really have the capital, draft capital, or the financial space, and there's nobody really on the market to trade that makes sense for them right now.
Yeah.
If they had 2 first-round picks, maybe they could get one, but they sent that off to the Knicks already. If they trade for Bradley Beal, that would definitely help them, I think. But would it make them serious contenders? I'm not sure. Honestly, I hope Luka takes some load management and they continue to lose, because the Knicks have their pick this year. And how hilarious would it be if somehow the Mavs won the lottery and the Knicks got it?
That would be amazing.
Like everything would come full circle. It really would. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
It's just, that would be like a dream come true.
So let's talk about KP, because we're still on the Mavericks now. They played against the Warriors a couple days ago. The tallest player, Andrew Wiggins, and one other player off the bench, 6'7". How tall is Porzingis?
I think 7 or 7'1".
7'3".
Nah, it's fake. I think how they bump. They bump it up a couple inches. He's 7 or 7'1".
Around the 7 foot mark, So he's at least half a foot taller than any other player. Dallas lost by 31 points. Kelly Oubre dropped 40 piece.
And they got out rebound.
Yep, and that was the worst part. They got out rebounded by like 3 rebounds, I think. 45-42. How are you 7'3", playing with a bunch of people that are half a foot shorter than you? You're not grabbing these rebounds. You're not posting people up, getting to the rim. Kristaps should have had a 40 piece this game. Not Kelly Oubre.
Yeah, I mean, KP, his rebounding has always been a struggle, even when he was on the Knicks.
Yeah.
He's not really a strong player. People kind of push him around easily. I think it's because he has a high center of gravity or something.
Okay.
So, and it just doesn't make sense that you're 7 foot whatever, and you can't grab a rebound. Kind of hinders that.
Yeah, he had 5 rebounds that game.
I think freaking Julius Randle's a better rebounder than him. Julius Randle's like half his height, like 6'7" or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. You traded so much, and you gave this guy a max. He's an okay scorer. Can't really rebound. Not really much of a playmaker. I think the Knicks might have dodged the bullet there too.
Yeah. Seems like it at this point. I mean, if you're getting out rebounded by a bunch of 6'7", 6'5" guys, and you're 7 feet and you can't drop, because KP's a scorer, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he's not a scorer. He's not like a Rudy Gobert type of player where he doesn't score. He can score. He should be able to drop 30 points on a team where no one's near his height,
Yeah, his shooting numbers, like his last line is really bad this year too. I think he's like shooting like 30% from 3 or something. It's horrible.
Yeah, he's shooting 45, 31, and 84.
That's not that good.
Yeah, no, 31 from 3 is not good for sure.
And his game is very limited. If he's not catching lobs and dunks or shooting the 3, he doesn't really do anything else. Like, he has an okay mid range, like that little turnaround he has. But his game's pretty limited. Like, he's a very skilled player. The fact that he can't score more efficiently, kind of crazy to think. He has like these handles and his arms and the height, and decent looking jump shot. He can't score. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. But that's all I got to talk about the Mavs. Anything else in basketball? Kings having a good week.
Yeah.
4-0 this week. Fox is having an amazing week. I think he's averaging like 30 points in the last 4 games. 9 assists, something like that.
Halliburton, their rookie, won Rookie of the Month.
Okay, that's dope.
Kings look good. I think they're 500 right now. Did they beat the Clippers? I think they lost the Clippers, right?
Let's find out.
I think they lost, and now they're 1 game under, but they've been playing good. Kind of a cool...
Yeah, they're 12-11 right now.
Oh, so they beat the Clippers.
Yeah, they beat the Clippers.
Oh, wow.
And they've been beating good teams. They beat Celtics, Nuggets, and the Clippers back to back to back.
Damn. They're kind of an underrated team right now.
I think so, yeah.
They're playing well. I mean, 12-11. I think that... Are they even in the playoff picture right now?
I think they're tied with Golden State, and Golden State's 8th.
That sucks. It's funny because if they're in the East, they'd be like 60.
Yeah.
That's funny. Kings, man, they're so unlucky. They're the 3rd team in California. And they're in the West. It's so freaking hard in the West.
Yeah. And nobody wants to go to Sacramento.
Yeah.
When you could just go to the Lakers or
Clippers.
to the Clippers.
Anywhere else.
Yeah.
Hope they do
Maybe
good,
they
though.
should go to Seattle.
That'd be pretty dope.
It's a travesty that Seattle doesn't have a team anymore.
Yeah, I think they should probably do expansion soon.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe you'd probably do what, 1 in the West, 1 in the East, right?
Yeah.
So, Seattle obviously in the West. What do you think would
maybe
be?
another Canada team.
That could be dope. I can see that.
Canada basketball's only getting bigger for Canada, especially with the Toronto winning the chip last year. You know,
that could be a good idea.
2 years ago.
No, that's that.
What are the teams?
Not that I can think of.
Maybe a third New York team. Who knows?
Oh God. Can't handle no more.
Cities that need an NBA team. Let's find out.
I heard that there was a city that they mentioned before. Pittsburgh? No, Pittsburgh?
Mexico City.
I
can see. They have the Mexico City games. What happened?
Pittsburgh?
You think? Yeah.
Why not?
Pittsburgh wouldn't be bad.
Pittsburgh is a pretty good sports town.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of makes sense. I mean, they have Philadelphia 76ers. Well, not Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, I don't know, Penguins or something. I think that's their hockey team, though.
Yeah, that is a hockey team.
So Pittsburgh, I don't know what the fuck they call it. Pittsburgh.
Louisville could have a...
Oh, no. Bro, don't put another sport team in Louisville.
And they have Kentucky, you might as well.
That's true.
But yeah, Vancouver wouldn't be bad either.
Actually, I can see the Canada, because they're trying to grow the game.
Yeah.
And, like you said, Canada's actually a pretty big basketball place, you know? Like, it's really, it's growing, really. And with all the losses they lost from China, maybe they could recoup it in Canada.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
You think Kansas City needs a NBA team?
No. I mean, their team's been winning it recently. Chiefs won and the Royals won.
Do they need an NBA team, though?
No. I mean...
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree.
Why would you put another small market team in the NBA? They got to put it somewhere. Pittsburgh is decent. Canada is decent. New Mexico? I don't know.
Yeah, New Mexico would be bad because they play the game. They have like the one New Mexico game a year or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis maybe wouldn't be that bad.
Nah, I would not go to St. Louis. I'm telling you, I would not go to St. Louis, man.
Yeah, Canada's probably the best bet if you want to put a team in the East.
Is there only one Chicago team, right? Just the Bulls, right?
Yeah.
Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
They can have 2. I mean, they have 2 baseball teams.
Mm-hmm.
They can do it. Put that shit in the South Side or something.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Go ahead.
I don't know.
I can't think of anything else to talk about.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Kind of, other than the Super Bowl, it's been kind of quiet.
So let's see. What 30 for 30 did I watch? Did I watch any 30 for 30 this week?
Mm-hmm. Did you? Weren't you telling me about one the other day?
Which one was it?
Not the OJ one. It was something right after the OJ one.
I talked about like 3 different ones on last week. I think I'm going too fast, man. I'm running out of ideas now.
Alright, I guess, is that it then?
Yeah, I guess that's it.
All right, so we'll see you guys next week. We talked about a lot in this pod. We talked about Super Bowl. Brady's the GOAT. Chiefs didn't show up. Bucs defense played great. Halftime show was good, but the commercial sucked. Bauer to the Dodgers. D Rose to the Knicks, and all the storylines in the NBA. Pretty jam-packed pod, right?
I'd say so, yeah.
So we'll cut it off here. So we'll see you guys next week. Later.
Yep, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.